Well, it's that time of year again. Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm Katie and today we are doing day one of Inktober. If you're new here and you want to join me throughout this Inktober journey, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the videos. And now all of that is out of the way with, let's talk about the prompt. So day one is crystal. So I thought I would just draw a crystal ball being held by a hand and see how mystical I could make it look with ink. My first attempt at making the background all magical and sparkly was with some ink I'd purchased off AliExpress a couple of years ago, and it has mica powder in there. Although I was massively disappointed, I definitely gave this a good shake up to try and get those particles moving, but wasn't really showing through, so I ended up going over it again. I do think this is more of a writing ink than a drawing ink or a painting ink, but I thought I'd give it a try anyway because it's just been sitting in the drawer for 2 years. Well, you know, minus the house move bit, but it's been sitting around and not being used, so I thought Inktober would be a great opportunity to get using it. For me, the ink wasn't quite black enough and the sparkly bits just, well, they weren't sparkly enough, so this is why I end up going over it again. There are a multitude of inks thrown on this. The next ink that I use as we move on to round 2 of trying to get the page looking darker is some of the ink that I received in an upgrade at the beginning of this year. Well, I think it was the beginning of the year, but you know the one. It's difficult for me to pronounce, but I do recall it being incredibly pigmented, so I thought this would be perfect, and I decided to add some of my own mica powder into the mix. I added just a couple of drops of water just to try and loosen things up a bit, and you'll not believe it, but this didn't work brilliantly either. I feel like there was better coverage overall as far as the pigment's concerned, but for some reason those sparkly bits, it just was not meant to be, and that's okay, I accepted it in the end. I am glad though that I was able to add an additional layer over there and just even the overall tone out. But I was a little bit gutted though that those purpley sparkles didn't show, but maybe it's just because that ink is incredibly opaque and it just wouldn't work. So I'm okay with that. I figured it out why, and that's okay. And it's all part of that, right? So how are you guys feeling about the prompt list this year for Inktober? I don't think it's as bad as other ones I've done, so I'm not feeling too bad about it. I've decided to dedicate a sketchbook to this so I haven't got lots of loose pieces of paper knocking about. And to make my workload a little bit easier so I can deliver a better video to you guys, some of them will be single videos with just one prompt, and some of them will be a combination of prompts. I still want to do videos of my own stuff. I've also got upcrates to do and beyond the boxes, so I want to make sure that I'm consistent with that too. I'm also going to give the Darkest Raven Designs prompt list a try again like I did last year, and I'll leave a link to Chantel's page in the description below. It's either going to be in the description or the comments, so if Inktober's not for you, then I think the Darkest Raven Design ones will really reach out to you, so go check it out. Anyway, the picture's just got a little bit more interesting now I've added some colour. So I used the Winsor & Newton inks and they are a little bit more transparent. The purple one not so much, but the blue one is, and I thought I could get some nice crystally vibes there by doing a wet and wet technique. To create an aura around the crystal ball, I again used the wet and wet technique and added a black outline around the edges, so you had this nice circle shape around this crystal ball, but it wasn't too neat and tidy and looked a bit more magical. I also decided to add a little bit more tone into the crystal ball itself. After all, it is on a black background, and even though it might be emitting some light, that background's still got to show through it a little bit, in my opinion. And I also increased the vibrancy of the colours I'd used, and I quite like how this turned out. All in all, I don't think this is a terrible start to the Inktober, and to be honest, I kind of want to get the message across that don't put too much pressure on what you draw. It's an exercise to get you drawing every day. It's not a competition who can do the prompt the best. Remember, there's a lot of people all over the world doing this, and they're all going to have their own spin on things. Also, people are going to have different lengths of time to be able to work on these, so if you're finding it hard to catch up, don't worry about it. Remember, it's just for fun. And I'll do my best to make sure that I complete all of the prompts, unlike Mermaid, which I will get round to finishing one day. Anyway, we are all done. It's a shame it wasn't sparkly, but it wasn't the end of the world, and I quite like the design itself. Of course, I would love to see what you guys think of this, and as well how you're finding the Inktober list. There should be some more beautiful things I think you should click right now if you want to watch some more. In the meantime, I'll see you lovely lot on the next video. Bye!